Hello, grade 7. So, today I am going to discuss to you about the arts and crafts of Mimaropa and the Visayas. So, the arts and crafts of Mimaropa and the Visayas reflect the Filipinos' um, rich culture, creativity, and traditions. Mimaropa is known for its earthy, nature inspired crafts like baskets, masks, carvings, while the Visayas showcases colorful weavings, shell artworks, and festive designs. These artworks express the elements and principles of art and celebrate the people's harmony, faith, and joy through craftsmanship passed down from generation to generation. Okay, so let us start with the Mimaropa or the elements of arts in Mimaropa. So for the line and pattern in Mimaropa, particularly in Mindoro, the Iraya Mangyan baskets are excellent examples of how lines and patterns are used in art. So the Mangyans skillfully weave thin strips of nito vines and grasses into repeating human, animal, and geometric designs. These interlace lines from organized patterns that give the baskets rhythm and structure. The repetition of shapes and curves shows their deep connection to nature and their keen attention to detail. And then talking about the colors in Mimaropa crafts often come from natural materials found in the environment. So the Mangyan baskets and mats display earthy hues like browns, greens, and beiges, symbolizing their harmony with nature. So, in contrast, the Moriones masks of Marinduque are painted with bold and vibrant colors, such as reds, blacks, and golds, to create a striking dramatic effect during the festival. So, this use of color reflects both the simplicity of daily life and the excitement of cultural celebrations. And then next is about the text and form of Mimaropa artworks. They are rich in texture and form. So the woven baskets have a rough, tactile surface that you can feel, showing the natural fibers' raw quality. Meanwhile, the carved wooden masks of the Moriones festival display smooth, polished forms, giving them a lifelike and expressive appearance. This contrast between rough and smooth textures adds variety and realism, emphasizing the craftsmanship and creativity of local artisans. Okay, so next is about the principles of design. The principles of design guide artists in arranging the elements of art, such as line, color, and texture, into a balanced and meaningful whole. So, in the arts and crafts of Mimaropa, these principles can be clearly seen in the works of the Manyans, Moriones mask makers, and other local artisans. So first is about the balance. So for the balance, it gives an artwork a sense of stability and harmony. So many Mangyan weavings and Moriones costumes are designed with symmetry, meaning uh, both sides mirror each other. So, for instance, basket patterns or mass decorations have equal visual weight on both sides, making the design appear steady and well proportioned. And then for the pattern and repetition, the repetition is used to create patterns that make the artwork pleasing to the eye. The Iraya Mangyan baskets often feature repeated geometric designs such as stripes, chevrons, and spirals. These repeating shapes form a rhythmic flow, giving the basket a unified and organized appearance while showing the weaver's precision and patience. And then for the emphases, The emphasis directs the viewer's attention to the most important part of the design. In Mimaropa crafts, artisans may highlight a central motif like a figure of symbol by using brighter colors, larger shapes, or more detailed weaving. This creates a focal point that captures the viewer's attention and gives meaning to the design. And then for the unity means that all parts of the artwork work together as one complete piece. So Mimaropa crafts show unity through consistent color and schemes and recurring natural or tribal motifs, such as trees, animals, and even human figures. So this consistent use of themes and colors tries the um, colors it ties the entire artwork together, creating a harmonious and complete design that reflects the community's identity and of course connection to nature. Okay, so next we have is um, the elements of art in Visayas. So in the Visayas region, the elements of art such as color, pattern, texture, form, and space are vividly expressed through its textiles, crafts, and architecture. So the artistry of the Visayan people reflects their joyful spirit, love for celebration, and deep appreciation of beauty found in daily life. So first is about the color and pattern or the color and pattern Visayan weaving, such as the Patadyong of Iloilo and Hablon of Negros and Panay. It is known for its bright stripes and plaid patterns. These textiles are woven in bold colors like red, yellow, blue, and green, symbolizing happiness, energy, and prosperity. So the colorful patterns not only make the fabric lively and eye-catching, but also express the festive culture and creative identity of the Visayan people. Then for the texture in Visayan arts and crafts varies depending on the material used. The piña cloth, made from delicate fibers, is light, sheer, and soft to the touch. Often used for formal attire like barong Tagalog and traditional dresses. And then on the other hand, Capiz shell crafts, common in Aklan and Iloilo, have a smooth, glossy, and translucent surface. So these contrast between the soft texture of woven fabric and the hard, polished surface of Capiz shells shows the diversity and sophistication of Visayan craftsmanship. And then for the form and space, Visayan artists are also skilled in shaping form and space. The patadyong, a tubular wrap skirt, demonstrates how a fabric can take a functional yet artistic form that complements the body's shape. Meanwhile, Capiz shell lanterns and window panels use flat geometric forms to create balance and order in design. In architecture, the Miagao Church in Iloilo displays how space can be used dramatically. Its carved facade and recessed reliefs add depth, volume, and visual interest, making it one of the most stunning examples of Visayan artistic expression. And then for the principles of design of Visayas, the arts and crafts of the Visayas region beautifully demonstrate how the principles in design bring harmony, order, and expression to artistic creations. So, through their textiles, shell crafts, architecture, and festivals, Visayan artists apply contrast, rhythm, balance, and unity to create visually captivating works that reflect their vibrant culture. So first is about the contrast and emphasis. So the Visayan art often uses contrast to catch the viewer's attention and emphasize certain features in copies. Um, in Capi's shell lamps and windows. So the natural translucence of the shell contrasts with the dark wooden frames, allowing the light to glow warmly through the material. So these interplay of light and shadow creates a dramatic and elegant effect. So similarly, in the Mascara Festival of Bacolod, masks are decorated with bright, contrasting colors like reds, yellows, blues, and golds to highlight the joyful and expressive faces that symbolizes the spirit of resilience and happiness among the Negrenses. And then for the repetition and rhythm, the repetition creates a sense of rhythm and movement in Visayan design. In piña and hablon textiles, striped and checkered patterns are repeated across the fabric, guiding the viewer's eye in a flowing, rhythmic motion. These repetition adds order and liveliness, making the designs dynamic and festive, just like the dances and celebrations they often accompany. The rhythmic use of patterns represents the unity and cooperation of the community in the weaving process. And then for the balance ensures stability and order in art. So, in Visayan architecture, especially in Baroque churches like the Miagao Church in Iloilo, balance is achieved through symmetrical designs. So, the twin bell towers on both sides and a central carved relief of saints and native plants. So, this symmetry provides a feeling of grandeur and harmony. So similarly, weaving patterns and textiles are often evenly distributed, reflecting the artisan's precision and sense of proportion. And then for the unity is what ties all the elements of a design together into one complete and meaningful whole. In the Visayas, artists achieve unity through coordinated colors, recurring motifs, and cultural themes. So, for example, during festivals, participants wear costumes and masks that share the same color schemes and motifs, creating a unified and harmonious visual experience. So the traditional textiles also use consistent color palettes and symbolic patterns such as nature inspired or indigenous designs that represent the region's shared heritage and artistic identity. And then for the notable arts and crafts of Mimaropa, so the region of Mimaropa, which stands for Mindoro, Marinduque, Romblon, and Palawan, it is a home to diverse and meaningful artistic traditions. So these crafts show not only the people's creativity and skill, but also their deep connection to culture, faith, and nature. So first is the ambahan from Mindoro. The ambahan is a form of ancient Mangyan poetry from the Hanunoo Mangyan tribe in Mindoro. It is traditionally written in seven syllable lines that express wisdom, emotions, and moral lessons about life, love, and community. So these verses are chanted melodically and often inscribed on bamboo using a native script called Surat Mangyan. So the ambahan represents the rhythm and line of art, not through visual design, but through the rhythm of language and sound, showing that art in Mimaropa is both visual and oral. And then next is the Iraya Mangyan baskets. So the Iraya Mangyan baskets are hand woven masterpieces made from native vines and dried grasses. So the weavers skillfully create geometric and figurative patterns, often featuring people, animals, or trees that tell stories about their surroundings and way of life. So these baskets are both functional and artistic, showing pattern, texture, and form through careful weaving. The craft demonstrates the Mangyan people's patience, precision, and harmony with nature, making their work an important symbol of cultural identity. And then we also have here the Moriones mask. Um, this is in Marinduque. So the Moriones masks are one of Mimaropa's most famous art forms. They are elaborate, hand-carved and painted masks worn by male penitents during the Moriones festival, celebrated every Holy Week in Marinduque. The masks are designed to look like Roman soldiers who took part in the crucifixion of Christ. So artists carve these from wood or paper mache and decorate them with bold colors, feathers, and metallic details. So the Mariones masks show a powerful combination of form or the three-dimensional sculpture and even color or the vivid paintwork, symbolizing both religious devotion and artistic expression. So these three art forms, the Ambahan poetry, Iraya baskets, and Moriones mask demonstrates how the people of Mimaropa expresses art in various ways through words, weaving, and even in performance. So each reflects the region's values, creativity, and connection to both faith and nature. And then, of course, we also have the piña cloth in Aklan. So the piña cloth is a delicate and luxurious textile made from the fibers of pineapple leaves, traditionally hand woven by skilled artisans in Aklan. So this fabric is known for its lightweight, sheer, and smooth texture, often used for elegant clothing like the Barong Tagalog and Filipiniana gowns. So many pieces are further embroidered with floral and traditional patterns, showcasing refined craftsmanship. So in 2023, piña weaving was recognized by the UNESCO as part of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity, honoring its role in preserving Filipino culture and artistry. So the fine texture or natural shine and detailed workmanship make piña cloth a true symbol of Visayan pride and excellence. And then next we have the patajong or hablon textiles in Visayas. The patajong and hablon are traditional woven textiles produced across the Visayas, particularly in Iloilo, Negros, and Samar. The patajong is a tubular wrap around skirt, while hablon refers to the woven fabric itself. These textiles are made using foot looms and fibers like cotton, piña, or juicy or goosey. They feature bright checkered or play patterns in vivid hues of red, yellow, blue, and green, symbolizing the cheerful and festive nature of Visayan culture. So the repeated lines and bold colors make these fabrics instantly recognizable. They are often worn in everyday life, special occasions, and traditional dances, celebrating both functionality and beauty in design. And then we also have here the Capiz shell crafts in Panay, Visayas. So the Capiz shell craft is another hallmark of Visayan artistry, particularly in Panay Island. Artisans use window pane oyster shells, locally called cappies, to create decorative home items such as lanterns, chandeliers, lampshades, trays, and even window panels. When polished, these thin shells give a soft, pearly glow that captures and diffuses light beautifully. This distinctive quality makes Cappy's craft both elegant and practical, adding warmth and brightness to homes. The use of natural materials and the skillful shaping and polishing of the shells demonstrate the balance of nature, function, and artistry in Visayan design. Together, the piña, cloth, patajong, and capis shell crafts reflect the Visayans' creativity, patience, and cultural pride. Each piece, whether woven or crafted by hand, carries a story of tradition, craftsmanship, and a deep appreciation for beauty found in everyday life. Okay, so let us now talk about the cultural festivals and architectural highlights. Okay, so the Visayas region is known for its color and joyful festival that showcase the creativity, faith, and unity of its people. These celebrations are not only vibrant displays of art, music, and dance, but also serve as expressions of the gratitude, devotion, and cultural pride. Among the most famous are the Mascara Festival or Bacolod and the Ati-Atihan Festival of Calibo, both rich in artistic design, costume making, and performance. So first is the Mascara Festival of Bacolod, Negros Occidental. It's celebrated every October. So the Mascara Festival is known as the Festival of Smiles. It began in the 1980s as a way to uplift the spirits of Bacolodnons during a time of economic crisis and tragedy. So today, it has become one of the grandest festivals in the Philippines. So during the celebration, street dancers parade in the city wearing ornate smiling masks adorned with sequins, feathers, beads, and bright colors. So these masks symbolize the people's resilience and optimism despite hardships and the vibrant costumes, energetic dance movements, and cheerful music fill the streets with life and joy. So, the overall display of color, pattern, and rhythm makes the Mascara Festival a true visual representation of the Visayan spirit of happiness and creativity. And then the Ati-Atihan Festival of Kalibo Aklan, held every January. So the Ati-Atihan Festival is one of the oldest and most celebrated festivals in the Philippines. It honors the Santo Niño or the Holy Child Jesus, and it commemorates the friendship between the Ati tribe and the early Malay settlers of Panay Island. Participants paint their faces and bodies black, wear tribal inspired costumes made from native materials, and dance joyfully to the rhythm of drums and percussion instruments as they parade through the streets. The lively beat and bold use of contrasting colors create a rhythmic and festive atmosphere that celebrates both faith and cultural heritage. So the festival's energy, movement, and colorful imagery express the principles of rhythm, contrast, and unity in a living form of art. So both the Mascara and Ati-Atihan festivals show how art in the Visayas is not limited to crafts or architecture. It is also a dynamic celebration of life and community. So through their masks, dances, costumes, and music, Visayans express their creativity, joy, and enduring spirit as Filipinos. And then aside from those, we also have the Moriones Festival in Marinduque. So the Moriones Festival is one of the most colorful and dramatic religious celebrations in the Philippines, held annually during Holy Week on the island province of Marinduque. So the festival reenacts the story of Longinus, the Roman centurion who pierced Christ's side and later converted to Christianity. So local men called morions dressed as Roman soldiers wearing handcrafted wooden or a paper mache mask and metallic armor, complete with feathers and helmets. So these masks are brightly painted and often decorated with mirrors, sequins, and bold colors, symbolizing devotion and artistic expression. So the parades, street performances, and reenactments combine theater, religion, and art, turning the town streets into a stage of faith and creativity. So the festival demonstrates balance and emphasis in its visual design and shows how traditional art forms like mask making continue to play an important role in cultural identity. And then we also have the Miagao Church in Iloilo. So the Miagao Church, also known as the Santo Tomas de Villanueva Parish Church, is one of the most iconic Baroque churches in the Philippines and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Built in the late 18th century, it is located in Miagao, Iloilo, and serves as both a place of worship and historical monument. So, what makes this church special is its massive sandstone facade, richly decorated with bas relief carvings that blend Spanish Baroque architecture with Filipino native elements. So the central carving shows a Saint Christopher carrying the child Jesus beside coconut, papaya, and guava trees, symbolizing the integration of local culture into religious art. So the church, thick walls, tall bell towers, and intricate ornamentation illustrate how art and architecture merge or combining form, texture, balance, and unity. It stands not only as a place of faith, but also a masterpiece of craftsmanship and cultural fusion. So together, the Mariones Festival and Miagao Church represent the blending of religion, art, and Filipino tradition. So the festival brings faith to life through performance and costume design, while the church preserves it through architecture and sculpture, both serving as living reminders of the Philippines' rich artistic and spiritual heritage. So let us now compare the Mimaropa versus Visayas styles. So the regions of Mimaropa and the Visayas both showcase rich artistic heritage of the Philippines. Yet each expresses its creativity in unique ways that reflect their environment, their and of course their history and culture. Their arts and crafts highlight how Filipino artistry adapts to local materials and traditions while celebrating community life, spirituality, and joy. So the Mimaropa region, composed of Mindoro, Marinduque, Romblon, and Palawan, they are known for its indigenous and nature-based art forms. And then many of its crafts originate from tribal traditions such as the Mangyan's Ambahan poetry and Nito basketry, which reflect deep respect for nature and ancestral heritage. Artists in Mimaropa often use local natural materials like bamboo, rattan, vines, and wood, creating works that are both functional and symbolic. Their designs typically include nature inspired motifs such as plants, animals, and human figures, expressed in earth tones and simple geometric patterns during the Spanish colonial period. So the religious influence is blended with indigenous art, giving rise to cultural fusions like the Mariones mask of Marinduque. So these colorful hand-carved masks combine Catholic iconography with folk craftsmanship, showing how Mimaropa art evolved from tribal to religious themes while retaining its organic and handmade characters. And then for the Visayas region is recognized for its vibrant weaving traditions and festive celebrations that embody energy and creativity. Its artisans produce luxurious textiles such as piña, hablon, and patadjong, known for their vivid colors, play patterns, and fine embroidery. These fabrics are used for clothing, symbolizing both elegance and cultural identity. Beyond weaving, the Visayas celebrates art through grand festivals like the Masker Festival in Bacolod and the Ati-Atihan Festival in Calibo. These events showcase bold costumes, bright masks, rhythmic dances, and lively music, reflecting the region's joyful and expressive nature. Architecturally, landmarks like the Miagao Church in Iloilo demonstrate the blend of Spanish Baroque design with Filipino motifs using intricate carvings and symmetrical patterns. Overall, Visayan art emphasizes color, repetition, ornamentation, and festivity, making it visually striking and, of course, full of life. So both Mimaropa and the Visayas value pattern, color, and community expression, but they differ in tone and style. So Mimaropa art leans toward organic, tribal, and earthy designs reflecting closeness to nature and spirituality. The Visayan art, on the other hand, is bright, structured, and festive, showcasing energy, craftsmanship, and cultural pride. So, together, they represent two harmonious sides of Filipino creativity, the Mimaropa's natural elegance and the Visayas' colorful celebration of life. So the arts and crafts of the Mimaropa and the Visayas beautifully showcase the Filipinos' boundless creativity, faith, and connection to their culture and environment. So from the earth-toned weavings and sacred masks of Mimaropa to the vibrant textiles and festive traditions of the Visayas, each artwork tells a story of heritage, resilience, and joy. So these creations remind us that art is more than just decoration. It is a living expression of identity and community passed down through generations to generations. So by preserving and appreciating these regional crafts, we not only celebrate the diversity of Filipino artistry, but we also strengthen our sense of national pride and cultural unity. Oh, so I hope grade 7 that you have learned something about the elements of arts of Mimaropa and Visayas. That will be all for today. Thank you for listening.